Dogs live, huh? Oh boy, what have I got myself into this time? I flew to Georgia, Tbilisi, and I'm walking from the airport to my hostel right now along this highway, and I just had to change sides because there were some dogs on the other footpath and they didn't seem unfriendly, but they didn't seem friendly either. Alright, this dog just followed me. My theory is these dogs aren't bad, they don't seem to be angry or territorial. I think they're just bored to death and they just like to bark at people, you know. That's their entertainment. And as somebody who is not used to being around stray dogs, and especially those are not small dogs, they're big dogs. That's a little bit intimidating. So that's something I'll have to get used to, I guess. And once you get over the initial bravado, you will discover that the biggest boys are frequently the bestest. The train out of Tbilisi was super affordable and had an amount of legroom that we in Germany can only dream about. The last leg of my journey was completed by Marshrutka. So the plan was originally to start the hike very early today, but when my alarm clock rang at 6 o'clock this morning, the sleep deprivation of traveling for the last 2 days and staying in shitty guest houses just caught up with me, and there was just no way that I was gonna get up at that time. So I slept in, had some good breakfast, and now I'm finally starting my section hike of the Trans-Caucasian Trail. The Trans-Caucasian Trail is a new hike in the Caucasus. You can hike over 3,000 kilometers through Georgia, Armenia and Azerbaijan. But on this trip I'm only going to do a small section through a region called the Upper Svaneti. As you can see, it's a very mountainous place. We start walking in Mestia. If you meet other travelers in Georgia, they'll often rave about that one hike they did, which was the most beautiful hike ever. They are usually referring to the 3 to 4 day hike from Mestia to Ushguli. I'll save that very popular part for later and start walking the other direction. On the trail west of Mestia, you'll hardly see any other tourists, and the landscape seems a lot more pristine. By now, I'm guessing most of you are wondering what happened to my spork that I usually carry around my neck. And to be honest, I'm still a huge proponent of the tactical neck spork. But on this trip, things are a little bit different. And there's another tool that's good to have at the ready at all times. And it is the compass. To be completely honest, at first I had taken the map and compass purely as a backup because I didn't want to be lost in case my phone died. But since I wanted to save as much battery for filming as possible, I started using them right away, and I found that I really prefer this way of navigating. When I navigate using my phone, I find myself constantly checking whether I'm still on the correct track. And I end up zooming in really closely to see whether I'm 5 meters to the left or 5 meters to the right of where the trail should be. With a compass and map, you don't know your location to that degree of precision. All you know is, yeah, I should follow this elevation line, there should be a lake on the left, I should follow this ridge for a while. This forced me to mentally zoom out and have a greater awareness of the big features of the landscape around me, instead of just following a little arrow. It also slowed down the pace of the hike a little bit, because sometimes you just have to stop and actively look for these landscape features and think which trail could lead to where you're going. Of course, this method has its limits, and when you're deep in the forest without line of sight to any landmark, it gets very, very difficult. But I think I'll continue using the map and compass in the future with my phone as a fallback for these situations. One thing that's a little annoying is all the stuff that wants to live in the sleeping bag with me. As you can see, there is snow around me, so I expect the temperatures to drop below zero at night. And if I don't want to bust my water filter or wake up to an empty power bank, at least reduced power bank, all of that stuff has to share the very limited space of my ultralight sleeping bag. That is a problem that ultralight companies should look into. Oh, the hubris of pitching my tarp on such an exposed spot. I was so confident in my shelter building skills, but now that the wind is tugging at all the stakes and the rain started falling, my confidence is waning. The thing is, every single time that I rush putting up the tarp, it bites me in the ass. Every single time. I don't know how many times I had to learn that lesson, but turns out it wasn't enough. Oh, I hope it will hold. And I just heard some thunder. So, how fucking stupid am I? Seriously. How fucking stupid am I? Finally, the wind and rain stopped and I was fine. And maybe this time I did learn my lesson. The rest of the hike went a lot smoother. I saw what I thought were wild horses, but later it turned out that, just as with their other animals, the Georgians just let their horses roam free and call them back or catch them only when they're needed. This is also why you'll see countless chickens and sheep and cows roaming any street. There was also a marvelous variety of insects and birds, and all kinds of wildflowers and herbs, especially in places where the trail was a little bit more overgrown. The trail conditions weren't always great. A lot of the times the trails were not well drained, so that basically little streams were running down the trails, sometimes to such an extent that it was impossible not to get your shoes wet. The trail also offers a spectacular amount of great views, but not everything went smoothly. After my card and compass navigation method turned a 90-minute road walk into a 6-hour bushwhack with an unexpected stream crossing, And after several nights of mediocre sleep on the hard ground that was only softened a little bit by my thin foam pad, I decided to also check out some of the guest houses. Almost every guest house I've visited has this big vat of dough which is used to prepare various Georgian bread specialties. The food in the guest houses in general was of very good quality. Most of the times the vegetables that were served were freshly picked from the yard of the owner. The next day, on a very overgrown passage, I lost the trail again. This time, instead of backtracking, I decided to cross a little stream that would inevitably cross my trail eventually. However, progress directly up the stream was very slow because I was very aware that with a single slip I could break a leg, immobilizing myself, and at the same time drench my phone in water and destroy my only means of communication and getting help. Ultimately, the botflies made it impossible to keep up my concentration. So I decided to abandon the stream and bushwhack back to the trail to escape the flies. Just gotta wait. Fucking flies. Go through this. Fucking. Alright, go through this bush here. Oh, fuck. When they bite me on my back, there's really nothing I can fucking do. Alright. Go like 100 more meters through this brush, and then I'll be on the trail, and hopefully on the trail I'll be moving fast enough so these flies won't bother me fucking much. Alright. I am never taking another fucking shortcut again. Oh, the fucking flies. Ah! Alright, let's run a little bit to get away from the flies. Maybe that'll help. Oh, shit. Oh, finally. I'm a bit higher up now. The trail gets lost in this grassland here, but there's a light breeze going. It's not very strong, but it's strong enough to keep the bugs away from me. I like that. Temperature is good. The sun is shining, and I think I'm very close to the apex of today's hike. So, oh yeah, the world is great. Life is beautiful again. Only thing is, I broke my selfie stick while swatting a fly. Well, funny. Still kind of usable. But funny how these things never last. Even when I was in Albania and I had the fancy metal one, it just didn't last. But I figured I have the drone with me. The reason you haven't seen any drone footage so far is because I was hiking very close to the border of Russia, and I just figured that the Russians would be kind of sensitive about drones flying that close to their border. But now I figure I'm far away enough that I could risk a little flight. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. And after slipping in some manure and hiking some more, I noticed something. And it was not the first time that this had happened on this trip, but it was the first time that I had consciously taken note of it. This is a really cool experience. So I'm walking through this valley, and it's a big valley. I can see very far, but I cannot see any other human being or man-made structure. It is literally pristine. That is quite a rare experience. And on my way down from the pass, I discovered a lot of other cool things, like this cool looking old tree, or a giant moth. Big moth. Look at this guy. Almost touching him. This is my finger in comparison. This is not first perspective. I'm almost touching him. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. Alright guys, look at what I found earlier. Shotgun shell. It's old and rusty, but hasn't been fired yet. I took it with me because I thought it's kind of dangerous to have it lying around where everybody can find it. Maybe I'm debating giving it to the police because, you know, technically I'm not allowed to own it. I don't want to get into any trouble. I thought about just using some of this powder maybe as a fire starter. If it still works, it might be wet, I don't know. But I'm afraid I might melt my titanium pot. So maybe I'll just dispose of it as a little fireworks. I was a little bit disappointed that I couldn't make it go off, but since the experiment ended with all my fingers firmly attached, I'll still consider it a success. Oh jeez, the aroma of my shoes. I'm about to pass out. Before I reached the Nguri Reservoir, I had a few more cool crossings of the stream and finally a long road walk to the end point of my journey. Having reached the reservoir, I hitchhiked back to Mestia, where I took a room in a guest house and prepared for the much more popular and touristy hike to Ujguli. Alright guys, I have to show you this. I've been cleaning, I've been washing my socks. I tried to wash my socks in this bathroom sink, but look at it. I've been doing this for like 10 minutes. It's not getting any lighter. It's still dirty. Look at it. It just keeps coming. I don't know what to do. I'm now on the very popular Mestia to Ujguli route. I'm taking it easy today because yesterday I had a little bit of knee pain, but it's an easy hike anyway. There's not that much elevation change, and I'm going to try to take some time to get to know some people in the hostels and guest houses. Maybe recover my legs and train my social muscles a little bit. I didn't see many people on trail at first, but then I'm not sure about my timing. Up at 6, on trail by 7 is a pretty standard timing. However, in Mestia, even the first bakery where you can buy a roll of bread opens at 8. And since I wanted to have a full breakfast, I wound up at the trailhead at around 9:30. Over the course of the day, I caught up with the people that had left earlier than me, but things didn't turn out exactly as planned. Well, I'm a little bit disappointed about the social interactions on this trail. I met some really nice guys, but the other popular trails I've been on, like the GR20 or the Peaks of the Balkans, there were lots and lots of women on these trails. In fact, I was surprised sometimes how many single women go traveling by themselves or in groups. It was a really good opportunity. It was always a really good opportunity to meet some trail babes. But on this hike, it's only older guys. I mean, I don't mean older, like old, just guys in their 40s. Slightly older than me, not a lot. There's also no big reunion of all hikers at the guest house in the evening. No late night deep talks in the common areas, or even someone to share your meals with. Although there are many hikers, there are so many guest houses that every group and person gets to stay in a different one. And it would be quite a coincidence to share one with some cool people. As far as the trail goes, it's really beautiful and very diverse. Some of the valleys you'll pass are littered with settlements and villages and houses, and you'll get to see the corresponding cute piggies and doggies. And some of the valleys are almost as pristine as the ones we've seen on the other side of the hike. You'll follow a lot of jeep tracks like this one, but even the single track trails are technically not very difficult. This is where the big boy dogs live, huh? Oh my god. Could those be the paws of a wolf? I mean, I know there are big sheepdogs around here that have paws like this, but I would expect to see also tracks of sheep, right? Or of other livestock. But I don't see any livestock tracks. I just see tracks of humans, boot tracks, and these huge fucking canine tracks. I'm gonna put my hand up against that one more time. Just look at it. Whoa. As big as my hand almost. So I just wonder. There's one notable exception to the trail being easy, and that is this particular river crossing. I believe that there used to be a ford here, but it must have washed out, or the flow of the river must have been just a lot stronger than usual. It was definitely not totally impossible to cross the river here, and if all I had on me were some swim trunks and I wouldn't mind wiping out and getting wet, I would have totally done it. But with all my electronics in the backpack, it just seemed a little too risky to me. Later on I learned that usually some locals on horses are waiting in this spot and charging a small fee to bring the tourists across the river, but for some reason they weren't there while I was crossing. And to be honest, I was much better off for it because I had the wildest adventure while trying to find a good place to cross. I followed the river all the way to its source, which is this huge glacier you see in the background here, before I found a suitable spot. Alright, we've hiked all the way to the foot of the glacier, as you can see. And look at how massive that thing is. What a huge wall of ice. Well, it doesn't really translate on camera. I'll try to get a drone shot later, but there is much less elevation change here. So the crossing will be much easier. The only thing is, I know you all want me to record how I'm crossing this, but guys, this is water that's coming right off the glacier. It's fucking freezing. I'm not going to wade through that twice. Woo! It's so cold. Woo! Holy shit. Oh my god. Freaking glacier water. And the silt is soft too. I feel like I'm sinking in with every step here. It's like quicksand. It's like some kind of non-Newtonian quicksand. Fuck. My feet are numb. Woo. Oh god. Oh, I'm already almost crushed. How far it's sinking in. Alright, I'm on the other side! That was a lot easier than I expected. Alright. That was nice. That was nice. Now it's starting to rain a little bit. If the rain stops before we move on, I get you some drone footage of this crazy glacier foot, because come on guys, look at it. Just freaking look at this monster. Oh jeez. This, if I take some drone footage here, it will for sure be the best footage of the whole trip. But of course, I can't fly my drone in the storm or in the rain. And look, there's a whole big cloud that's just pushing down the mountain right now. Alright guys, I snuck a quick drone flight in before the rain started, and I got so excited about showing you this cool glacier and about doing it before the rain starts, you know, and getting some cool drone footage. I totally forgot how freaking close I am to the Russian border, and that I did not want to fly my drone near the Russian border. So I hope they won't open fire on me now or something. No, I'm sure they won't, but for sure my drone has made it onto some list in Russia by now. Yeah, so well, whatever. We'll see what happens. I keep hearing roaring like thunder behind me, but the weather is great. I think it's coming from the glacier. I think if I'm lucky I might see something break. I might see the glacier calf. I don't know, I might see a big piece break off. Alright, I'm 100% sure now. The glacier is rumbling like an angry Zeus. It's just that from where I am, can't see it anymore, but I can hear it sometimes. But of course, whenever I do hear it, it's too late to start recording. And also, I'm bushwhacking here back to the trail, and this is such a dense vegetation. It's taken all of my concentration and strength to get through this bushwhack. Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus fuck. And look at this. I'm up to my belly in these, whatever this is. And it is so steep. Dropped my phone there for a second. All right. 8. 69. Fucking hell. Can't move in this shit. Svaneti. In case you're wondering what I'm counting, I estimate that I am 400 meters away from the trail. So every time I advance by 1 meter, 71. I count that. So I have a rough estimation, 72 of my progress. 73. As you can tell, it is not going very fast. Whoa, shit. Alright, I need both hands for this. 61. 62. 363. 364. And I'm back on track. Yes. What looks like a stream is actually the trail. Finally. And I am not far from the final peak of this trek. Alright, there it is. I can already see it. Okay, you don't see anything because of the sun, but I am approaching the very last peak of the Svaneti section of the Trans-Caucasian Trail. Okay, the last couple of steps. After that, everything will be lower. After that, it will be mostly uphill. After that, almost everything will be downhill. Are you ready? Last couple of steps here to go up. Last peak in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm done. It's all downhill from here, ladies and gentlemen. I am almost done with the TCT Svaneti section. And as you could tell, I was also done mentally. I continued hiking until nightfall when I found a little shepherd's hut and I used my little twig stove to make some ramen noodles. However, my night wasn't over yet. There is no way I could sleep in that shepherd's hut. It was just infested with mice. So many of them. As soon as I down and put my things down, they started checking me out. So I just made my ramen and then I fled. But this trail, it's more like a small stream than a trail. So much water. My feet have been wet for a long time now. It's not good. I really just want a flat spot for camping. But forget about it. Can't find a flat spot anywhere, let alone a dry spot. Look at this. Fuck. It's all water. Finally. It gets a little bit drier, but look at this. You can't see it, shit in the dark, but it's a rocky, muddy trail. Found a tiny dry spot to camp, but this is footage I took the next day of the same trail, and it just went on and on like this. Eventually the mud ended and the rest of the trail to Ushkuli was fine. Ushkuli itself is a very interesting and beautiful village. It's said to be Europe's highest permanent settlement, but it's also terribly touristy. Ushkuli was also the end of my trip. For joining me virtually on this trip, I realized that talking to the camera and making these videos for you helps me a lot to feel less lonely on these long solo adventures. So I really hope you liked the video and that you're going to join me on my next adventures too. See you soon. Bye.